When I was 4 years old, my big sister, who had just gotten her driver's license at 16, was super excited to pick me up from the babysitter for the very first time. We were both happy, but that happiness soon turned into a scary situation. Right after we got on the main road, a white pickup truck started following us really closely. It felt weird, but we didn't think much of it at first. After a few turns, though, my sister noticed it was still following us, no matter what she did. Even when she changed lanes, the truck would change lanes too. She was a little worried, but she tried not to scare me. The man driving the truck started acting really strange. I don't remember what he looked like, but I remember his face looked super mad, like he really hated us for some reason. He kept honking his horn really loud and driving close to our car to get our attention. He would even pull up next to us sometimes and yell at us. The first scary thing happened at a big intersection with a red light. We were the first car stopped, so we thought we were safe. But the truck driver used the empty lane next to us to zoom past and then cut us off. He got out of his truck really mad and yelled at us. He even lifted his shirt to show us a gun. My sister was scared, but she bravely protected me and drove away really fast through the red light. The man in the truck got back in and followed us again. Since my house was closer, my sister decided to go there first, but the truck followed us and blocked us in the driveway. The man got out with his gun again and walked towards my sister's car. My sister had to think fast, so she drove her car across the lawn to escape. She was a new driver and didn't have a phone to call for help, so she was really scared. The man followed us back onto the road and kept trying to hit our car with his truck. He even had his gun out on the dashboard. He also made a scary gesture like he was going to hurt us. My sister saw a gas station nearby and knew that was our only chance. She told me to be brave, and that the moment we pulled up to the gas station, I had to jump out of the car and run inside to find someone to call the police. We pulled in, she stopped the car, and I jumped out and ran inside just like she said. She ran in after me a few seconds later. The scary man followed us to the gas station, but by the time the police arrived, he was gone. They never found him, and we never figured out why he was following us. He only stole my sister's ID and some money, but it was a really scary experience we'll never forget. Before we jump into our second story, make sure to hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up if you're enjoying the content. Stay tuned for more updates. Back in the 1980s, when driving from Morelia to Ciudad Hidalgo, Mexico, we had two options: the National Road or the old one known as Mil Cumbres, which translates to 1,000 curves. As the name suggests, Mil Cumbres was notorious for its winding paths, causing many travelers to experience motion sickness. One evening, as we made our way back to my grandparents' house in Ciudad Hidalgo, my grandfather was behind the wheel. He had a fondness for Mil Cumbres due to its scenic views, despite its dwindling popularity since the new national road was built. Consequently, Mil Cumbres had become quite desolate, with only a few small towns along the way. As dusk fell, darkness enveloped the mountainous road, and our car seemed to be the only one traversing the lonely stretch. About 45 minutes into the journey, my grandfather suddenly slowed down. Curious, I peered over the front seats from the back to see what was happening. To my shock, I spotted a massive tree log obstructing the road ahead. My grandfather wasted no time. He swiftly reversed the car to turn around and flee from the danger. As we sped away, the dimming taillights illuminated shadowy figures emerging from the trees beside the log, brandishing flashlights and guns. It dawned on us that we narrowly escaped a robbery attempt thanks to my grandfather's quick reflexes. That harrowing experience marked the last time we ever traveled that treacherous road. I was 20 years old. driving home on a long trip that should have taken 8 hours. Traffic troubles slowed me way down, and by nightfall, around 11 p.m., I was on a lonely stretch of highway. There was a car behind me, but I didn't worry about it at first. It followed for about an hour, and I figured we were probably just heading in the same direction. Then, I pulled over at a gas station to grab a drink. The car stopped at a pump across the street, but no one got out. Still, I didn't think much of it. When I left the gas station, guess what? The car followed again. An hour later, I needed to use the restroom and pulled over at a rest stop. The car, still behind me, stopped at the entrance, but again, no one got out. Now I was starting to feel seriously creeped out. I was still 2 hours from home and unsure what to do. Wondering if I was imagining things, I pulled over at another spot on the side of the road. The car pulled over too on the other side this time. Just like before, they didn't get out, just sat there watching. Finally, I reached my town and called my parents, freaking out about what was happening. They told me to drive downtown and make 4 left turns. I did, and the car kept following. My parents then said to head straight to the police station. The car followed the entire way, but as soon as I turned into the station, they sped off way too fast. I reported everything to the police. They sent an officer to try and find the car, but I never heard anything back. I have no idea what that person wanted, but it was terrifying. Now, I'm extra cautious whenever a car is behind me at night, especially if it follows me when I turn. It was super late, around 11 at night, and I was driving home from work on a 2-lane road. There weren't many cars around, so it felt kind of spooky. All of a sudden, I saw a bright red shirt. A guy on a bike swerved right in front of my car. My car bumped really hard and I yelled, "Oh no!" a bunch of times. I jumped out of the car really worried, but there was nothing there. No hurt guy, no bike, not even a scratch on my car. I looked everywhere with my flashlight in the ditch on the side of the road, but nothing. Then a police car pulled up with flashing lights. I told the officer what happened about the bump and the red shirt, but he didn't seem to believe me. He told me a scary story. A long time ago, about 15 years back, a young man in a red shirt was hit by a car on that same spot and died. Apparently, I wasn't the only one who thought they hit a ghost there. The officer said every few years someone has the same experience. That night scared me something fierce, and to this day I try not to drive at night at all. This happened a few years ago, around this time of year. I was a truck driver for Costco, and during the holidays, we deliver extra toys to different stores. One night, I got a last-minute call to take giant Spider-Man dolls to a rural store in Kentucky. Since I'm a fast driver, I got the job. I loaded up the truck and hit the road around 3 a.m. After a while, I started feeling strange, like something wasn't right. I figured I was just tired, so I took some pills to stay awake. But about 15 minutes later, the fog rolled in. It was thicker than any fog I'd ever seen before. I couldn't see anything, so I had to pull over and wait for it to clear up. Sitting there in the silence with no other cars around, my truck suddenly died. No lights, no engine, nothing worked. I tried my radio to call for help, but there was no signal. My phone didn't work either. I was stuck, not knowing what to do next. Then I heard a sound, a child crying. It slowly changed to a woman's cry, or at least that's what it seemed like. I'm a big guy, but I was scared to get out of the truck. I rolled down the window a little and called out to see if anyone needed help. The crying stopped as soon as I spoke. Then I heard something even worse, a creepy laugh. It felt like it was laughing right at me. I slammed the window shut, and the more scared I got, the louder the laugh seemed. But then, just as suddenly as it started, it stopped. And just like that, my truck started back up and the fog disappeared. I got out of there as fast as I could, driving like crazy. When I reached the next truck stop, I ran inside and splashed water on my face. I couldn't believe what had just happened. Was it all a dream? It was a terrifying night that I'll never forget. If you want to see more of the most frightening horror videos, check out our previous videos and subscribe to be notified of new, terrifying experiences. Until we meet again, be cautious of the supernatural and be careful when navigating through dark and eerie situations.